All right, I'd like to welcome you all and thank you all for coming, for responding to the invitation, and for taking part in this opportunity to look at a very important subject together. That subject is the subject of the Christian Science Church today. I think you all received the invitation, and you know that the title of this introductory talk is The Newly Emerging Form of the Christian Science Church Today, Love's Promise Fulfilled. I think what we need to see, first of all, as we begin, is that there is only one school of Christian Science, just as we shall see that there is only one church of Christian Science. But this issue of there being one school of Christian Science is a very important one to set straight right from the beginning, or else we may feel that there is a school that diverges from the one school, the school that Mrs. Eddy has given us. She says in Science and Health, she asks the question, is there more than one school of Christian Science? And answers, Christian Science is demonstrable. There can therefore be but one method in its teaching. Those who depart from this method forfeit their claims to belong to its school. In Rudimental Divine Science, she says, in reality there is and can be but one school of the science of mind healing. Any departure from science is an irreparable loss of science. Whatever is said and written correctly on this science originates from the principle and practice laid down in Science and Health. And then returning to the textbook again and to the first quote that I gave you, which is from the chapter Science, Theology, and Medicine, where she speaks about her discovery and sets forth that discovery. She says, from the infinite one in Christian Science comes one principle and its infinite idea. And with this infinitude come spiritual rules, laws, and their demonstration. So we can see that either something is Christian Science or it is not Christian Science. And I invite you to listen today, to join today with me, to see if there is any point at which we would deviate from this one school. In other words, if there is any point at which we would deviate from the Christian Science textbook, and therefore from Christian Science. So I thank you for coming. I thank you for sharing this opportunity with me and invite you to discover the subject along with me. We come here together today then to reason about the things of science, to reason about Christian Science. And our great common denominator, even if we don't know each other well, or if we have only met momentarily, or if we are well known to each other, what we have in common is our love for Christian Science. That's what binds us together. Our love for Christian Science, for the Christian Science textbook, and our esteem for Mary Baker Eddy and what she has given to mankind in proclaiming, as she says of her own work, the gospel to this age. She brought the gospel to this age, as though we have almost a new restating of that whole gospel, that whole teaching of the Christ, of what the Christ was bringing to mankind. So it's an invitation really to come and let us reason together. And, you know, I feel that the fact that you are here is a wonderful proof of the working of the principle of Christian Science within you. Because insofar as we are schooled in that principle, and we have that principle within us, established within us, instituted within us, we are always safe. And we know that we are safe, and we can go anywhere, and we can listen to anything. We can listen to what others have to say and not be afraid that we will lose something, or that we will be tainted, or that we feel threatened by that we feel that Christian Science is threatened by that, or that if we go to a talk and listen to a speaker, or we take up a piece of literature and we read something about Christian Science, that we are not afraid that we offend Christian Science. But we bring really, as a true Christian Scientist, to every situation, to every opportunity, such as those that I mentioned, the quality of being a scientist, the quality of being able to weigh a subject, of being able to reason about a subject, of being able to follow a line of logic in a subject. We bring the whole quality of the principle and of what we understand about that principle to the situation. And so we are, in the truest sense, a scientist, a Christian Scientist. We bring our own present understanding of the divine principle of Christian Science to that situation, and we allow that principle to operate for us, to operate within us, to sort things out within us, to separate, to be able to listen to a talk and separate. Is this the truth, or isn't it the truth? Does it ring true, or does it not ring true? And so I feel that insofar as we are grounded in the principle that the textbook teaches us, we are always safe. It's a terrifically freeing thing, a wonderfully freeing thing, that we don't have, or we don't experience that freedom when we still feel we have to ask somebody else, can we do something? Can I, should I, ought I to go and listen to this talk? Or should I stay as far away from those people as possible? You see. And so asking the practitioner, asking the teacher, asking the board of directors, asking the president of the board, calling the mother church, checking with the ecclesiastical hierarchy to see, can I listen to what somebody says about Christian Science? Can I read what somebody writes about Christian Science? This is pathetic. Mm-hmm. It's pathetic, and it shows the state of the field today, that this field is not mature in the principle that Christian Science teaches. Mature enough to feel that that principle is my self-government, is rooted in me, and that I am self-governed by that principle, that I understand that principle, that it is scientifically understandable, that it is rooted in me, grounded in me, that it is my source of understanding everything, my spiritual understanding, that enables me to test everything, check everything, that I weigh everything in my experience and check it against that principle? Or do I still have to check with somebody on the phone, my teacher, my practitioner, with the church in Boston, to see if something is all right or not? That's rather sad. That really is sad. And so that's what I love about the fact that we are gathered here together, and that here and there are new individuals and new individuals who are interested in what we're doing, who are willing to listen, who are willing to devote 2 or 3 hours to come and reason about the things of Christian Science. Well, I want to take a moment just to state rather succinctly who I am and what I represent and what my foundation is. You know from the invitation that I am here in a certain office of representing the Kapler Institute for the Science of Being. And as such, I feel that I owe you a certain statement, a certain explanation of what that means, of who I am, of where I stand, and where the Institute stands in respect to Christian Science. And so I would begin by telling you that I and we accept as our only authority the Christian Science textbook and the Bible, the divine principle that is embedded and taught in those 2 textbooks. That I and we conceive of Christian Science as indeed the comforter to this age, the comforter that Jesus promised, and that I and we build on the fact that the textbook is the complete revelation of Christian Science, that it gives the complete science of Christian Science, that it contains, as Mrs. Eddy indicates, the complete revelation of the absolute divine principle of Christian Science. And that means that nothing can be added to that principle. Nothing can be taken away from it. We are not here trying to add something to the textbook or to take something away from it. This is not necessary because it is complete, and that completeness, the completeness of that principle only needs to be recognized, to be seen, to be understood. And so we accept that the textbook contains the full statement of Christian Science, and that no single aspect of that statement, of that text, is the main aspect or can be taken out of the context of the whole, however much one may love that particular aspect. So that every aspect, whether it's healing or demonstration or understanding or whatever it is that one is so drawn to in the subject, that subject must be seen within the context of the whole. It can never be taken out of the context of the whole. And so the Christian Science textbook is a holistic text. It is presenting a revelation that is whole, and it is presenting a science that is holistic. It presents a science that is holistic, and it presents the science of holism. And so we take Mrs. Eddy's revelation in a holistic way. We don't take a snatch here and a piece there and say, oh, I like this, and don't you like what she says here? And although you will hear me during this talk quoting from different parts of the textbook, different parts of Mrs. Eddy's writings, that when you see the whole of what I want to say to you, you will see that those parts are holistic, that they have been chosen holistically, that they fulfill a holistic role in the subject of the whole question that we are approaching today. So further, you see many of these things have been criticisms about what we do, about what the Dorley-Kapler line does. One criticism is, well, they have a secret teaching. And you have to get in that group to find out what that secret teaching is. And I'm here to tell you today there is no secret teaching. It's an open book. That book is open. The moment we learn how to approach that text, the moment we see what it means to be a scientist, the moment we begin to realize the pith, the essence, the fundamentals that Mrs. Eddy has given to us in that text, it's an absolutely open book. And so there is no secret revelation apart from that which the textbook already contains. It contains that final revelation of the divine principle. And so we can say further that there are no additional revelators giving us more than what the textbook already contains. So let that set your mind at ease, that you are not encountering a group of individuals who claim to have a higher revelation, a further revelation, another revelation, something beyond what Mrs. Eddy has already given us. So that we have that final principle that stated in the textbook. But does that mean that all revelation comes to an end? Did all revelation come to an end when the final revelation of the divine principle was stated? No, not at all. You can see that any science, any discipline, any science so-called, goes on unfolding and unfolding and unfolding the idea of itself, the idea of its principle, whether that subject is mathematics or music or art, or it can be anything. It can be video work, the art of video, the art of makeup, to be a makeup artist, or whatever it is, that behind every subject is a principle, the principle of that subject. And that principle goes on and on revealing the idea of itself. This is why no discipline comes to an end. Why you could say, well, why didn't music stop when we reached Bach's era? Bach, oh, that music was so beautiful. Why didn't everything just stop there? But it didn't, did it? With every new age, you have a new form appearing of the idea of the principle behind that subject. And so it is with Christian Science, that to admit that the divine principle has been revealed in its completeness, in its fullness in the textbook, is not to admit that all revelation comes to an end. And so we have that wonderful story to tell you about the idea of the principle of Christian Science. And that's a story that has been going on since Mrs. Eddy left us. It didn't stop with Mrs. Eddy. The idea didn't stop when she left this plane of existence. But that idea, which is immaterial, goes on revealing and revealing and revealing itself without end. It goes on unfolding itself. So that, can you see that whatever is based on a principle is alive? It's a living thing. It's a